You will never speak a language fluently unless you get a lot of speaking practice. And I'm about to tell you how you can do that without moving to the country, without paying for an online tutor, without going to classes or doing anything like that. In fact, all those things are maybe not a terrible idea, but they're less effective than what I'm about to show you, which is also free. So basically, speaking can be divided in three sub-skills. There's fluency, which people confuse with speaking well, but it doesn't mean speaking well, it means speaking fluently. Fluidity means being able to think fast and formulate sentences quickly. Yeah? Your speech is smooth, you don't run out of words, you're able to say what you want to say. That's fluency, which is not the same thing as accuracy. Accuracy is speaking with the least amount of mistakes possible. You can be fluent and not accurate. A lot of immigrants, after many years, are like that because they don't read much or because they, for whatever reason, they can speak a lot and fast, but their accuracy is terrible. They just make lots of mistakes. Nobody corrected them. Or they don't read enough. They don't see the words in, like they don't see the sentences in the whole structure, so they don't correct the sentence order and so on. And the third thing is pronunciation, which also happens with people. It's also a problem for people who moved to a country years ago, and they learn to speak eventually, to have basic conversations in their comfort zone. But if you don't get a lot of input and you do this exercise I'm about to tell you, your pronunciation will also be bad. So you have to work on your fluency, being able to think fast and form sentences quickly in the language. Your accuracy, speaking accurately with precision, and good pronunciation. Yeah, fluency, accuracy, pronunciation. You need all three. How do we work on them? Well, speaking in general, if you talk to people, you'll improve at all three up to a certain level. Yeah. So if you just have conversations, just move to the country, bro. Just get a Latina girlfriend, bro. The passport bro thing, I keep hearing these people. They claim to speak good Spanish. I doubt they'd be able to have a 10-minute conversation with me in Spanish and keep up. The thing is, if you just talk to people, bro, you get good at those conversations you keep having with the same people. It's very rare that you will have deep, meaningful conversations in a language that you're learning, especially if you're learning by talking to people. So there will be a huge part of the language, most of it, that you will never talk about, you never hear anything about it. And the moment the conversation deviates a little bit from what you're used to, you'll be lost. So those people who claim to speak fluent, not everyone, but most of them, a lot of them, they're not fluent. They're conversational in certain specific areas. And also they'll make mistakes, a lot of them, because your girlfriend's not going to correct you all the time. Maybe, yeah, she will. She'll make fun of you maybe, but eventually, as long as she understands you, she won't correct your grammar much. And your pronunciation, as long as it's good enough for them to understand you, yeah, that's it. Which it's okay, I guess. If your standards are so low, then it's okay. But that's not good pronunciation. So, talking to people by itself doesn't work. Moving to the country by itself doesn't work. First of all, because there's nothing in the air there that by breathing you... Oh, Mexico, Spanish. Yes, sí, ahora hablo bien. No. No funciona así, chaval. It doesn't work like that. If you to get better at the language, you have to actually use the language. Just being there, if you work online in English and you live in an expat bubble and most of your friends or whatever acquaintances are English speaking, and your interactions in Spanish are limited to buying stuff, the grocery store, buying beer at the bar, so on, trying to flirt in bars and stuff. That's not going to improve your Spanish much. It's going to your perception of your Spanish will get much better. You'll think you've made huge improvements. Your confidence will grow, which is a good thing. But your overall level will improve quickly at first, and then you'll get stuck there and very, very slowly improve a little bit, maybe. But it will always be basic. What you need to do, first of all, is massive input. Yeah, massive amounts of reading and listening, native speaker content, podcasts, books, online articles, so on. Once you've read a dozen books, then you know what I'm talking about. Your vocabulary will have grown immensely from the 500 words you learn being the just talk to people bro guy to 15,000 words, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. That you'll be able to basically understand anything. And also when you're speaking, you'll have a wide range of vocab, and you'll sound much more not like a native speaker, but much closer than a gringo just speaking in broken sentences. That's one, massive input. Then, if you want to work on your fluency specifically, first of all, without the massive input, fluency is going to be impossible. So you need to start getting the input. But if you want to speed up the process, language islands. Write down a list of all the topics, situations, conversations you usually have, detailed list, and then for each one of them, long list of sentences, everything you would like to say. This includes deep topics so that you are able to have long and meaningful conversations on those topics. You write everything in English, then another column, and you write everything next to it in Spanish. And then you memorize everything. You repeat them out loud over and over again, and then you translate from English into Spanish mentally. You try to say them, you look at them, you say them the wrong way, then you correct yourself, you say them correctly, and you keep doing that until you get them right. And you should do this with a few thousand sentences if you want to get really fluent. Yeah, those are language islands, and your speaking will flourish. It'll get to a completely different level just by doing that, if you do that. In fact, I got people doing that the first week, memorized 1,000 sentences the first week, and they're able to speak. Not well, but it's from scratch. I mean, it's a huge improvement as long as you do it. But if you do that together with the input, and then the other couple of exercises I'm now about to explain now, speaking will get really good really quickly. So next, accuracy. Again, the language islands will help with accuracy. Translation is the most important exercise for accuracy. Also, input's good because the more you read, the more you listen to stuff, to grammatically correct sentences using the right vocabulary, you're much more likely to then replicate those sentences correctly, right? So input helps accuracy as well, but the best thing is translation. You get your sentences, you get the Spanish translation, you translate them without looking, and then you compare and correct. And do it with pen and paper and correct all your mistakes. And keep repeating the process until you can do it with basically no mistakes. It's hard work, but it works. It's really good. If you do this, don't worry about you will not have to worry about grammar, the subjunctive, the this and that conjugations. You can learn all that stuff simply by translating into Spanish, then comparing with the original, correcting your mistakes. Eventually, you'll learn. It's something you have to do with a couple of pages a day, and very quickly, your grammar will get good, your vocabulary will get good, you'll make very few mistakes. Last part, pronunciation. We go back to the input. That's why it's so important. Input's extremely important. If you want to sound good in the language, again, my English is not perfect, but I think I still kind of sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger a little bit. but it's halfway there. It's kind of British-like sounding sometimes. Sometimes sounds better if I've spent time with British people. I still do drills sometimes. I should do more of them. Listen and repeat it, basically. Long list of sentences. You listen to them and repeat one after another, trying to sound as close as possible. You do this in classrooms sometimes in language learning. They give you 10 sentences and you repeat those sentences once in a while to try to work on pronunciation. Then the next month you'll do another 10 sentences. No, those are rookie numbers. No, you have to do hundreds of sentences a day. So it's like 15, 20, 30 minutes of just drills, like an athlete who trains, same move over and over, like same sentences, same 100 sentences. You drill the whole list over and over. You listen and repeat, paying a lot of attention to each and every one of the sounds and try to replicate, trying to sound exactly the same. Not just the pronunciation of specific letters and combinations of letters, but also same tone of the language, try to imitate the whole thing. It's an imitation work. It's like a performance. So choose someone or something that you like the way they sound, and you should do this. And your accent will get way better. So, summarizing the whole thing, your speaking will never be good unless you get lots and lots of input first. Your comprehension will suck and your speaking will suck unless you get lots of input. Lots of input is extremely important. Massive amounts of reading, massive amounts of listening. And then the 3 exercises for the 3 sub-skills of speaking. For fluency, language islands. For accuracy, listening and repeating. No, sorry, the other way around. For accuracy, translation. For pronunciation, listening and repeating. Yeah, I still make mistakes sometimes. And that's it. You do all those things, those actually 5 things, because input should be divided in reading and listening. You should do both, ideally. Don't just read, because then your listening comprehension will suffer and your pronunciation will not improve as much as if you were listening a lot. So lots of reading, lots of listening and repeating for your pronunciation, translation for your mistakes to correct them, and then use language islands. And if you do this, you don't need anyone. When you meet people, you'll have fun. You'll have a long list of sentences that you've memorized exactly for those conversations. So you'll be able to speak a lot with good pronunciation without having to overthink anything. And you'll be enjoying it. And real conversations and traveling and all that should be for fun, for enjoying it. Or if it's for work, then get business done. But it shouldn't be to learn. You shouldn't be learning languages on the spot. Yeah, when you're with people, you should be enjoying the moment, making the most of the moment, not learning the language then. You will learn from being there, but that shouldn't be the main goal, right? So again, massive input, listening and repeating, translation, language islands. Do all those things, do them daily, your speaking will get very good very quickly.